There are moments when a look lingers long enough to alter the air between two people. You feel it before you understand it. It is not the quick glance of courtesy, nor the polite acknowledgement of passing eyes. It is slower, denser. It has weight. His gaze does not simply rest on you, it begins to live there. Something in that stillness tells you that this is no longer a casual exchange of sight. It is something older, something deeper, as if the gaze itself has been waiting for you long before the man ever knew your name. This is not about seduction games or a performance of charm. It is not the shallow spark of flirtation. This is about an invisible exchange happening beneath words and gestures, an exchange woven into the fabric of his unconscious. Carl Jung once said that the eyes are windows to the unconscious. When a man's stare lingers beyond comfort, he is often not seeing you as you are in this moment, but rather seeing a living symbol, something his psyche has been searching for without knowing it. That symbol is what Jung called the Anima, the inner feminine image that lives inside every man, formed from layers of memory, longing, and the unmet tenderness of his own inner life. The gaze that holds you in place may feel like desire, but it is often more complex than that. This is the point where fascination becomes imprint. The moment his eyes stay with you long enough, something begins to record. Inside his mind, connections form, weaving your presence into his neural pathways. His nervous system starts to remember you before he has even spoken your name aloud. And yet for many women, this moment is easily misread. You may believe it means he sees the whole of you, but very often what he sees is not you. It is his own longing reflected back at him. This video will decode this specific look. We will explore through a Jungian and archetypal lens why this gaze of profound fascination signifies a deep, unconscious recognition. We will reveal how it is a signal that a powerful bond has already been forged on a soul level, long before his conscious mind has caught up. This is a journey into understanding the difference between being an object of attraction and becoming a symbol of life itself. Before we can decode the meaning behind this gaze, we must first learn to recognize it with absolute clarity, for it is often mistaken for its more common and less powerful cousins. First, let us be clear what this look is not. It is not the look of conquest. The look of conquest is sharp, focused, and assessing. It is the gaze of a hunter who has spotted his prey. It measures, it plans, it seeks to possess. It sees a woman as a beautiful object to be acquired, a prize to be won. It is a look that is entirely about his own ego and his own desire for victory. While it can be intense, its energy is fundamentally predatory, nor is it the look of idealization. The look of idealization is soft, dreamy, and distant. It is the gaze of a poet who sees not a woman but a muse. It places you on a pedestal, turning you into a flawless fantasy, an angel, a goddess. This look does not see your humanity, your flaws, or your realness. It sees a beautiful story he wishes to tell himself. It is a connection to an idea, not to a person. The look we are exploring tonight is something else entirely. It is the gaze of awe at her unapologetic embodiment. It happens in a moment that is almost always unplanned. He is not trying to seduce you, and more importantly, you are not trying to seduce him. It is the look he has when he witnesses you in a moment of pure, unself-conscious, sovereign sensuality. Perhaps it is the way you laugh, a sound that comes not from your throat but from your belly, full and untamed. Perhaps it is the way you savor a simple meal, with a pleasure so authentic it seems sacred. Perhaps it is the way your body moves to a piece of music, not for an audience but for the pure joy of the movement itself. In these moments, you are not performing. You are simply, radiantly, unapologetically alive in your own skin, and he sees it. His eyes may widen just a fraction. He may forget what he was in the middle of saying. The noise of the room around you seems to fall away, and for a split second, he is not a man planning his next move. He is a witness. He is not a hunter seeing prey, nor a poet seeing a muse. He is a desert traveler who, after a long journey, has just stumbled upon a living, breathing oasis. The look is one of reverence for a source of life. This is the gaze of embodied presence. It is a look of stunned fascination, because he is witnessing a woman who is so completely and comfortably at home in her own body, in her own pleasure, in her own essence. He is seeing a force of nature, and it is this powerful, untamed energy that we must now name. For to understand it, we must journey into the realm of the archetypes and meet the one that our modern world has tried so hard to forget. The energy that inspires this gaze of awe has a name. It is not a personality type, nor a mood, nor a fleeting phase. It is the reawakening of the most powerful, misunderstood, and essential archetype in the feminine psyche, the wild woman. Let us be clear. The wild in wild woman does not mean out of control, reckless, or destructive. That is the shadow of this powerful energy. The true wild woman is not a force of chaos, she is a force of nature. The word wild here means to live a life that is true to its own innate instinctual nature, not one that has been overly domesticated by the expectations of others. She is the part of the female soul that has refused to be tamed, to be put in a cage, to have her spirit broken for the comfort of a civilized and often soulless world. This is the archetype so beautifully described by Jungian analyst Clarissa Pinkola Estes that represents the instinctual nature of women. The wild woman lives in her body, not just in her head. She trusts her gut feelings, her deep intuitions, the ancient wisdom that is carried in her very cells. She honors the cycles of her body and her life, the cycles of creativity, of rest, of passion, and of stillness. Her sensuality is not a performance designed to attract a mate. It is a natural, unapologetic overflow of her own vitality. It is in the way she connects with nature, the way she creates, the way she protects what she loves with a fierce loyalty. She is the keeper of her own life force, what Jung called libido, and she does not give it away carelessly. When a woman begins to embody this archetype, she radiates an authenticity that is profoundly magnetic because it is so rare. She is not trying to be anything other than what she is in that moment. She is not seeking approval. She is not performing. She is simply inhabiting her own truth, her own skin, her own untamed spirit. This is the energy he is witnessing when he looks at you with that gaze of stunned fascination. He is seeing a woman who is connected to a source of power that is older and deeper than social conditioning. He is seeing a woman who is free. And that vision of authentic, embodied freedom is what mesmerizes him. It is not just your body he is drawn to, it is the untamed life force that is radiating through it. This primal energy is a force of nature. But what happens when this force meets the inner world of a man? What specific mechanism does it trigger in his unconscious? To understand this, we must turn to the heart of Jung's own work on the hidden dynamics between the masculine and feminine soul. When the authentic energy of the wild woman meets the inner world of a man, it triggers one of the most profound and least understood mechanisms that Carl Jung ever described. To understand what happens in that moment of intense gaze, we must understand that he is not simply seeing you with his eyes. His soul is seeing you through an ancient lens. That lens is the anima. Jung taught that the anima is far more than just a man's inner feminine. It is his bridge to the unconscious. It is his capacity for relatedness, for feeling, for intuition, and for a connection to the mystery of life itself. In our modern world, which so often demands that men be logical, controlled, and invulnerable, this anima is often left underdeveloped, neglected, or suppressed. He becomes disconnected from the vibrant, instinctual, soulful part of himself. Then, he encounters you. Not the you that is performing or trying, but the you that is simply, unapologetically alive, the embodiment of the wild woman. In that moment, his conscious mind may be confused, but his soul is not. His underdeveloped anima looks out and sees in you a living, breathing image of what it is meant to be. Free, instinctual, creative, and fully embodied. This is the event that is happening behind his eyes. It is not attraction, it is recognition. His soul is recognizing its own forgotten potential in the mirror of your presence. It is a moment of profound resonance, a feeling of, I know you, that comes from a place far beyond personal history. He is in that moment seeing a reflection of his own lost soul. This is what differentiates this gaze from everyday flirtation. Common attraction is often a connection of the persona, our social masks interacting with each other. It is about shared interests, compatible personalities, and social chemistry. It is safe, predictable, and lives on the surface. But the gaze of awe bypasses the persona entirely. It is a direct, unconscious, soul-to-soul communication. It is often overwhelming and confusing for his conscious mind, precisely because it is not logical. It is archetypal. This is why, in that moment, he's already yours. He is not yours in the sense of possession, of a prize that you have won. He is yours in the sense that his psyche has now indelibly linked you to its own sacred journey toward wholeness. You have become a significant, unforgettable figure in the story of his soul's unfolding. He cannot forget you, because to forget you would be to once again abandon the most vital part of himself that you have just reawakened. The bond is not on the fragile level of personality or circumstance, it is on the eternal level of archetype. And a bond made in the soul cannot be easily undone by the mind. This wild woman energy, this embodied life force, is not something to be intellectually understood. It is something to be lived, to be felt in your very bones. It is your birthright. But the noise and the demands of the modern world can cause us to forget the path back to this primal part of ourselves. The purpose of a ritual is to create a conscious doorway back to that which has been forgotten. This practice is not about learning to be sexy for someone else. It is about the sacred act of returning to your own body, of reclaiming it as a source of wisdom, pleasure, and power. We call it the embodiment ritual, coming home to the body. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed, even for just 3 minutes. Stand or sit comfortably. First, the sensory awakening. Close your eyes. The mind will want to race, to plan, to worry. Gently pull your awareness away from your thoughts and into your senses. Your body is the anchor to the present moment. Silently name to yourself one thing you can hear, the hum of the house, a distant bird. Now name one thing you can feel against your skin, the texture of your clothes, the air on your face. Now name one scent in the air, however faint. This simple act short-circuits the analytical mind. It pulls you out of the story of the past and the anxiety of the future and places you firmly in the reality of your body, right here, right now. Second, the breath of life. Place a hand on your lower belly, your body's center of instinct and gravity. Begin to breathe deeply, not just into your chest, but down into your hand. Imagine that the air you are breathing is not just oxygen. Imagine it is pure life force, a golden, vibrant energy. With each inhale, you are drawing this vitality from the world around you and filling your own inner well. With each exhale, you are releasing the stale energy of self-consciousness and the need for external approval. You are not just breathing air, you are breathing life back into yourself. Third, the unapologetic movement. From this place of sensory presence and vital breath, allow one small intuitive movement to arise. The only rule is this: the movement must be purely for your own pleasure and release, not for an imaginary audience. Perhaps it is a slow, luxurious stretch of your neck, a gentle rolling of your shoulders to release the day's burdens, a subtle sway of your hips, awakening the creative energy in your core. It does not need to be a grand gesture. This is a microdose of embodied sovereign sensuality. You are teaching your body in this moment that it is allowed to move for its own joy, reclaiming it from the judgment of the external gaze. This ritual, practiced over time, is the path back to your untamed nature. It is not about a dramatic transformation, but about the small, consistent, and sacred moments of coming home to the truth of your own body. It is from this embodied place that an authentic, captivating energy naturally begins to flow, an energy that does not need to be seen, but is always, inevitably, felt. When a woman practices the embodiment ritual, when she consistently chooses to come home to the wisdom of her own body, something inevitable begins to happen. The world around her begins to respond to her new frequency. And this brings us to the ultimate promise of our title. A man can find performative sexuality anywhere. It is a commodity in our modern world. It can be learned, practiced, and perfected. It is often about technique, about pleasing, about creating a temporary thrill. But an encounter with a woman who is a genuine, untamed force of nature, a woman who embodies her wild woman essence, is profoundly rare. It is an encounter with a truth, not a performance. And that is why it is unforgettable. This is the deeper meaning behind the phrase, "He's already yours." It is not a statement of ownership or possession, for the wild woman can never be possessed. It is a statement of profound and irreversible impact. He is yours in the sense that his soul has been indelibly marked by the encounter with you. You have become a permanent fixture in his inner landscape, a new standard against which all other connections will now be measured. After experiencing the authentic life force of a woman who is fully at home in her own skin, all other more superficial attractions begin to feel pale and lifeless in comparison. The women who perform for his validation, who offer their sensuality as a transaction, they may still be beautiful, but they will feel hollow. You have not just given him a moment of pleasure, you have ruined the superficial for him by showing him what is profoundly real. He does not become devoted to a performance, which is fragile and can be replaced by a better one. He becomes devoted to a truth, to a force of nature. His loyalty is not to what you do for him, but to the state of being you represent. This is why the connection is so powerful. He has seen in you a glimpse of a more authentic, more alive way of being. And so he is yours not because you have trapped him in a game, but because you have liberated him for a moment from the world of games. You have shown him a level of authenticity and life force that his soul craves, something that cannot be faked or replaced. The encounter with your sovereign sensuality has become a turning point in his own inner journey. This is the difference between fleeting attraction and deep soul-level captivation, and it is where the final truth of our journey lies. We began this journey by observing a single subtle signal, a gaze that felt different, heavier, more profound than the rest. We have traveled through the inner world of the masculine psyche, met the untamed energy of the wild woman archetype, and understood that this look is not one of conquest, but of soul-level recognition. And so we arrive at the final liberating truth. He is already yours precisely because you were never trying to be his in the first place. You were busy being your own. The moment he saw you, truly saw you, was a moment you were not performing for him. You were simply inhabiting your own authentic, sensual and sovereign reality. His soul did not connect with an effort you made. It connected with the undeniable truth of your own self-possession. This is the profound difference between simple attraction and deep captivation. Attraction can be manufactured. It is the currency of the ego, traded in glances, compliments, and performances. Captivation, however, is an unconscious event of the soul. It cannot be faked, strategized, or forced. It is what happens when one person's authentic life force is witnessed by another. The deepest form of seduction, then, is not seduction at all. It is the unapologetic and joyful expression of your own essence. So the invitation is this: stop trying to be attractive to the world and start practicing the sacred art of being fully, deeply, and unapologetically alive in your own skin. Tend to your own fire, your own pleasure, your own wild and beautiful soul. For that is the energy that does not just attract a man for a moment, it captivates his soul for a lifetime.